You're listening to The Watchers, a show where two women from opposite ends of New Jersey watch movies and TV set in a universe where every hour is 42 minutes long.
Oh my God.
Apparently.
I'm sorry. I couldn't even wait until you finished that sentence.
What are they doing to us? Why?
It's driving me fucking crazy.
That's the conceit.
For a show that is like, you know, we're going to accurately portray, you know, one shift. It's like, well, where did the 15 minutes go every hour of that shift?
They really better be saving it up. It really better be.
I know, like a 3 hour, but they're not, because they literally, every episode, they start with a new hour. And I'm like, where did those 15 minutes go?
I said it last week. I'm getting so South Jersey because I'm fired up. Last week, I said it last week. Show me 15 minutes of somebody like charting. That's fine. I don't care. I just want my hour.
You know what I want in that 15 minutes? I want Monica and Dana having a smoke together.
Perfect.
In the ambulance bay, reminiscing about like what it was like when they were coming up.
That's it's perfect.
That's what I want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making me crazy.
I know. It's so good and it moves so fast and then it's over. And I'm Andrea.
And I'm Jody.
And we watched The Pitt, season 2, episode 10.
Yeah, it's 4:00.
It's 4:00. We are on the back third now.
Yeah, we are. Before we get into this episode, I just have to share something with you that I don't know if you've seen.
Is it Joshua Jackson and Gritty?
No, that's what you sent me.
In an ad?
No, this is about our show that we're watching. It was a thing that was said in an interview that I thought you'd find amusing. So you were very into the Ogilvy put your hand down line from last week's episode. I watched an interview with Lucas, the guy who plays Ogilvy, where he said that Noah Wyle improvised that line, first of all.
He's a pro.
Yeah. And the interviewer asked Lucas what he thought Ogilvy's question was going to be. And he said that because it was coming right after his interaction with Javati and the rash patient, where they were both like trying to steal the patient and neither had done it correctly. And like one didn't have a clipboard and one hadn't written their name on the board. He thought that the question would be somehow meant to like reiterate that he had been right in that situation. So be like, the person without the clipboard doesn't get the patient, right? Like, so.
Right. So Robby was right to tell him to put his hand down because it wasn't going to be. I love everything really about that.
Yeah. I love that Noah improvised that line because you can really imagine good. Like on the set, they're going through it and he says that I'm sure everybody had to stop.
Yeah. That's so good. Oh, that makes me really happy.
Yeah. What's your sort of top line reaction to this episode? What's the thing that stood out to you? This is a very teacher question. I just realized that's like in this reading that you had to do for homework, Andrea.
Let's just start
what
there.
What are the top
and then
3 points? Two takeaways and a question. God.
I think we're all having less fun. I think this was a great episode. One of the reviews I read called it clunky. I don't know that I felt like the episode was clunky. I think I'm delighting less in what's happening because things are so strained between a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that's tough, but I think it's really compelling. I love that this is a show that lets its characters who we love be tough, like difficult. Yeah. It reminds me a little bit of how we talk about Carol and Pluribus. Like,
yeah.
So that's number 1 takeaway. Park the Shark is my number 2 takeaway. God.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect. Park the Shark. His hair, the like slicked back hair, the sort of like Roman nose. It's just
he's so good.
Perfect.
Somebody on Instagram like referred to him as Lou Ferrigno's son, and I thought it was a joke, but no.
Really?
He really, yeah.
Oh my God.
Lou Ferrigno Jr.
Wow. I did not see that. Yeah. I also saw someone say that, reminding us that the people that Garcia deals with upstairs are people like Park the Shark should help us understand a little bit better her attitude. Like,
that's a really good point.
A woman of color in a field with mostly people like that.
Yeah.
You're going to be kind of a hard ass to survive. So I agree that I like the fact that they're letting us sort of build up warmth for these characters and then kind of showing the other side of them. They're doing that in both directions, right? Like we've talked before a lot about how people like Santos, people even like Joy this season, they start out as very kind of sharp and, you know, spiky, and then we kind of get to love them in their messiness. And they're doing the opposite too. The people that we instinctively loved, like completely and, you know, blindly, they're being like, yeah, hey, excuse us. These are also flawed humans.
Right.
You know?
These are all real people who, yeah. And I like too that it's not just, like the way we talked about Santos last season of being like, I kept saying, like, I know they're setting me up to really love her, and they have done that, but what they don't do is be like, well, we fixed her,
now she's perfect.
She's great. Yeah
Absolutely. They're doing that a little bit with Langdon, but I think that in some ways that's a tough line to walk, because with Langdon you want him to be a foil for Robby, in that like he's dealing with his shit and he may not be doing it perfectly, but like, and he's definitely not doing it perfectly at work, but like he is giving us an example of what it looks like to have at least looked inward for a moment and just be like, maybe I'm not perfect and maybe I need to work on some stuff.
And I think too with Langdon, other than the stealing drugs from patients in season 1, like he was a pretty good guy back then too.
And he was a good doctor, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's not like...
He wasn't so much worse than everyone else, yeah.
Yeah, and he's not a different person now. He's Langdon from last season, but more self-aware and feeling like contrite and wanting to... Yeah.
One of the things we didn't like about him last season was that he yelled at Santos in the moment in front of a patient and in front of their colleagues, and Robby called him out for that. And like... because it's a TV show, we're like, oh, Langdon sucks. But like, he's in our imaginary world, like he's a person who was in the throes of addiction and had a bad day. Robby is a person who's in the throes of PTSD and depression and had a bad day, and also did the same thing to another character we love. Like everyone can do that. Like, you know, every single person has snapped at someone on a bad day without like realizing it.
Yeah, the one thing about Langdon that I wish he were doing differently is, and I know that I don't imagine that Santos would be all that open to it, but she's kind of the only person he hasn't really tried to like have a conversation with. He's tried to like jump back in, and if anybody I think deserves one, it's her, even more than Robby maybe.
Totally. And we talked about this already, but the thing that he should have done if he'd been able to is before he going back to work, actually have these conversations and not try to do them, during a code gray or whatever they call it when this happens. No, absolutely. And I think when we get to the person I'm calling Finger in my notes, but when we get to that, I do want to talk more about how Langdon and Santos spoke to each other, because I thought it was super interesting watching him try to, and I think that his behavior in that scene is actually more of a test of the people watching the show, like a litmus test for them and how they react to the way he spoke to her, because I saw a lot of people be like, he was overdoing it, he was being really bossy, blah, blah, blah. And then I saw other people who were like, he was doing his job, it's a teaching hospital, it's the same way that like Robby talks to Whittaker essentially, like. And so it's interesting to think about like how you react to his behavior has probably more to do with how you, what experiences you've had in your life with authority and with like people with addiction and forgiveness and all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in this show, I think.
Yeah.
You and I have run into it a few times where like things come up and I have to be like, well, this could be because we're a little more. And so maybe this is another example of that. I think, we'll get more. I'm sure we both have more to say about that interaction. We
totally.
Can save it for.
I think we can go through the patients again, like we have been doing our rounds as they say in the field. But then we can kind of circle back if there's things that we don't get to cover with our individual people. I've been thinking a lot about Dana this episode, actually. I've been kind of tracking her this season. This is an interesting episode for her, but we'll get to that when we get to the places where it pops up in the show. Who should we start with? So technically, I think Roxy is our first patient. I don't want to end with Roxy, even though the show does.
Yeah, I think maybe we do what we sometimes do, which is in order of importance. And so I feel like, I don't know what order this is, but I think we probably save Roxy, Duke, and Becca for the back half.
Okay.
And maybe even Dr. Mohan. I'm not sure where she falls in.
I don't know. I think that I'm going to have more to say about that. Maybe that should be somewhere closer to the middle. But I think we should end with Duke because it's not as heavy as ending with Roxy. And I have a silly game for us to play at the end. And I don't want to go right from mom dying of cancer, 2 children left, motherless to let's do silly haha stuff. So
great. So maybe, let's talk about our water slide.
Yeah, let's talk about our water slide.
Our water slide victims, and we'll move on.
Let's talk first, because this is the first one that comes up about her. I found out her name is Emily. That is said much later in the episode, because we do start with a moment at the station where they find out the chopper's coming in, and fucking Robby. I'm going to say fucking Robby a lot today. Fucking Robby. Langdon offers to help, and he chooses Ogilvy.
Which is listen, it's a teaching hospital. We were just talking about that. Sometimes I don't know that you know nothing about the situation yet, and you're bringing in Ogilvy, put your hand down.
Yeah, exactly.
Although the last time he went out to the helipad with Langdon.
Yeah. Oh, that's definitely not, not part of this, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe I also don't want another opportunity for Langdon to try to have a heart-to-heart.
Yeah, to scream at me while the helicopter lands. To scream apologies.
So funny.
Yeah. But I did note that, as people are running up to the roof, we then go to Al-Hashimi, who's also getting ready to go up, and she grabs Langdon because she is sort of she respects him, and she's sort of subtly advocating for him now.
Yeah, and she isn't bogged down by all the bullshit of this ER, so she can make the choices that make sense.
Right. And she can see okay, this is a good doctor. Let's, he offered to come up to the roof. Let's go.
Right. This is the first little moment we get of Al-Hashimi this week, getting into things.
Oh, yeah.
She's way more hands-on this week.
Yeah, literally. I also noted, I think she is seeing the Santos Langdon thing happening too. Because we talked about how even though she's got something else going on with her as well, she does seem to be, she's going to be taking over this position theoretically for 3 months. And so part of what she's doing is taking the lay of the land, seeing how people are reacting to each other. I don't think it's an accident that Langdon comes to help her and then she grabs Santos, because she's also present later on when we have all those interactions between them around the patient. So we go up to the roof and we get one of my favorite moments. Any moment where Ogilvy is holding a severed leg for some reason is just so fun for me.
It's what it is for me? It's he came in so
hot,
sure of himself, and it's the reason that the difference between Ogilvy and Santos season 1, because she also came in really assured, but the mistakes that she made were dropping a scalpel into a surgeon's foot. And for Ogilvy, it's been he gets shit on, he gets a leg thrown at him.
He also pulled a piece of glass out of someone and caused a massive bleed.
But even that was almost slapsticky. I guess the scalpel drop is too, but there's just something so goofy about his fuck ups compared, not that getting thrown a leg is a fuck up, but his predicaments.
Well, and I think it's also because Santos was wrapped up in the whole Langdon drama. And so we were kind of pairing it with that, where she's being
true too.
Having to take part in a much more serious storyline as well. And Ogilvy is just kind of, catching legs and yeah. I will say, I think it's interesting because we've talked about how the interns and the new medical students and the new, and Emma are our way of having things explained to us, but they're also our way of because we've been with the Pitt for a full season now and have seen this mass casualty incident, it's our way of being reminded of how insane this is. Because
this conversation
is
so good.
He says, this place is relentless. And no, Wiley, Dr. Robby is like, holiday weekend, we're not normally offline. And Ogilvy's like, I think we have a very different idea of normal. Turns out he comes from Vermont, which very different than a city hospital.
Yes. I mean, Pittsburgh v. Vermont, two places. Well, yeah, I'll say, I was going to say, I understand Pittsburgh's a city and Vermont's a state, but Pittsburgh v. Vermont, pretty far apart in terms of like
general vibes.
Yeah. What I like about, see, they're doing it. I know I said I will never like Ogilvy in the same way I have always loved Santos, but he feels the most human he's felt in this conversation with 100%. Robby. That he to the attending, who is Robby, that he outright says like, this has been a lot already. And it's so like, I don't know that I would have the guts to be like, this is actually hard and I'm struggling. Like,
yeah. Well, and I think that it shows how much has already experienced in the 10 hours he's been there or whatever, because literally he came in overly ambitious and not overly ambitious, but very typically like what they would call a gunner. And that person, if this had happened, they were up on the roof together, him and his attending, waiting for a helicopter to bring a patient in the beginning of his shift. He would have been trying to make a good impression. He would have been showing off. He would have been like citing statistics and, trying to like get on Robby's good side. And instead he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? He's just been totally shaken. And like, he's still a gunner and he's still cocky and whatever. But like, you can see a difference in him for sure after the morning that he's had.
Mm-hmm. I'll still never forgive him for he croaked. But
no, that was insane.
Yeah, he deserves everything that's coming to him, but it's good to see him being more human.
Yeah.
Him just like rocking that leg kind of like a baby when they're actually in the trauma bay.
That was my first laugh out loud moment of this episode. I literally wrote in my notes in bold, Ogilvy bounces it like a baby. It's like such a subconscious thing that he's doing. It's like it's probably about the weight of like a baby. Yeah. And he just starts bouncing it. I kind of absolutely died.
And the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if this is the most impressive bit of foreshadowing where we learn that Ogilvy's like a single dad?
Oh my God.
You
could not be a medical student and a single dad. I can't imagine, unless you've got like a huge family.
Right.
But yeah, so this is our leg severing patient. This show is so revealing to me of what I can and can't handle, because like the severed leg looked so fake to me, even though they tried to make it look super realistic, that I was just like, it's just a prop. Like, it's not attached to her body.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I had the same thought at first, and then I was like, I guess I've never actually seen a severed leg. And what else would they look like? Totally. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just like, but your brain can't. I had the same exact feeling you did, and I was just like, maybe I just can't process that. And so, yeah. But I love a couple little moments in this. Actually, it's just one that I want to talk about, because every time Robby's a little like shitty to Ogilvy, it makes me so happy. But he's right when Ogilvy's like, well, it's not broken exactly, or whatever the line is, because she doesn't know, she's lost it yet. And the way Robby leans in, it's just like, keep your fucking mouth shut. It's just like, thank you, finally somebody. If you had told him that the first 3 minutes he came through the door today, half of the problems I've had with Ogilvy would not have happened.
Yeah. I also liked I don't know if it's Whitaker or Ogilvy that asks the patient, does your belly hurt? And she says, no, asshole, it's my leg. Which is, to be fair,
she's having a tough time.
Yeah, she really is. As anyone would. They're going to try to reattach her leg, but in my absolutely minimal research, I was on Reddit this morning. Apparently these reattachments usually don't go very well, because like, they can, but the functionality is not great because everything has been severed. Whitaker's comment about just two little pumpers really freaked me out a little bit. He's way too calm about that, and that phrase is really not okay with me. Yeah, but we meet Park the shark. I'm so excited.
I love how much Robby loves him. Like, he's delighted by the existence of Park, you can tell.
As am I. I get it.
Yeah.
His Roman nose, his slick back hair, his general asshole demeanor.
He just comes in already annoyed.
Yeah. Like, Whittaker is doing what he's supposed to do as a young doctor, telling him what he's doing and has been done and all of that, and gets him ready. And he's like, I'm not blind, idiot.
Saline genius.
Yeah. He's just like, and it's funny because, like, okay, I think this is another moment where the show is like, hey, check yourself, because we have been on Garcia for all of her, like, snapping at people and her cockiness and her over the top, like, shitting on people generally, like the Nepo baby comment. But when Dr. Park does it, we're like, oh, ha ha ha, it's so funny. Look at Dr. Park. And it's like, wait, no, this is exactly how Garcia behaves. But we do not think it's like, I think it's delightful, but also I do see myself and other people criticizing her more than, like, I would him in this situation, because it's like, oh, so typical male surgeon, we like write it off.
Yeah, it's funny. There are so many, this show's so good because yes. And then also it's like, but I do know Garcia better. And I know that, like, especially with Santos, she, like, has feelings obviously for Garcia. So when she's shitty to her, blah, blah. But also I did let this guy just come in. The thing I thought you were going to say is we've been so, like, Whittaker, look at him go. He's, like, so self-assured. He's running the CR now. He's ready to go. Like, make him attending next week. He's, right. And then it takes one surgeon comes down who we haven't seen before, looking at Whittaker, you know what I mean, through his eyes, to be like, oh, he's still fucking Huckleberry. Like, he's still.
Yeah. We've touched on the camera work in the show a number of times. Shout out to whoever decided to put in that shot of patient Emily on the table talking to Robby as Whittaker and Ogilvy rinse off her leg behind her. And the slow horror movie turn where she sees her own leg being rinsed by two young, bumbling, like, what look like teenage boys, to be honest.
What look like Tweedledee and Tweedledum teenage boys. These blonde.
Yeah. One with a mop of hair and one with, like, a hipster mullet. Just like
curly-headed dum-dums.
Squirting saline onto her severed leg. Good Lord.
Yeah. Perfect show. Have I mentioned it's a perfect show?
She says, did you cut my fucking leg off?
I love her trying to process, like,
yeah,
what a
seeing
wild
your
thing
actual leg just detached from your body. Like, that is just such a insane thing to fathom. I started thinking this is obviously not the same thing. It was attached to my body. But when I had shoulder surgery, they did a nerve block. And so for, like, 48 hours, your arm's not there. Like, from the shoulder down, it was like I could feel my arm with my other hand and know it was physically there. I could see it in a mirror. I could not move it. I could not move my hand. I literally was like a lump attached to my body. It was the most freaked out I've ever been about shit going on with my body. And I have, like, crippling endometriosis and chronic migraine. And it was just like, where is my arm?
Yeah, having that, like...
And I know it's not the same. My arm was still attached to my body, but, like, it's such a surreal and disturbing sensation.
Anything for me that draws attention to the fact that I'm aware of the parts of my body,
yes.
And then being like, oh, I'm just always passively aware of my leg because I can feel it and I know it's there if I think about it, but I don't ever have to. And then the second, it's just like, oh no, that's.
Yeah, no, one of my best friends literally is going through some physical stuff right now and said out loud yesterday, it's really hard having a body. And I was like, yeah, it really is. Like, and being aware of it is worse. Like, when you're forced to be aware of it.
I always think of did not ask for skin. You know that?
I do not, but it's appropriate.
So let me get this straight. I have to do tasks every day. Dozens of them. And then I have to wash my skin off. Did not ask for skin.
Yeah.
And then lie unconscious for a while and then do tasks again. I didn't even ask for scanning. You people are making me do tasks. Like, it's...
That is seriously accurate. I think that's all I've got for Emily. I hope her leg reattachment goes well. Or she meets Abbott and decides that it's fine, and, you know, if he can operate and give blood at the same time with one leg, like, she'll be all right.
And, like, be the SWAT medic. Yeah.
And do naked yoga. Like...
Perfect show.
Perfect. Let's move on to the man that I'm still, unfortunately, in my notes called Finger. I don't have a name for him. Are you okay?
I think for me, this is the worst injury we've seen in 2 seasons. I
didn't look at it because I knew it was going to bother me. So, like, I just kind of didn't. Yeah. It's
not gory because, it's just so unsettling. It really, like, I can feel it in my hands in a way that...
Well, we don't have to talk about his finger. We can talk about the insane interpersonal dynamics that are going on around him, because that is really the purpose of this man. It was very hard to find his name. It's clearly not... The only hint we get of him being a human, other than his body being there, is that he's looking for his son, which, you know, maybe we'll continue to learn more about later. You know, Emma did a great job with her Gen Z detective skills, going on the dad's IG and sending the photo to the cops.
Do young people say IG like that?
I don't know. I've never said it seriously. But anyway, so they're all working on this guy. The big thing here is it's a callback to episode 4 of season 1, when Santos and Langdon are working on the patient from Pitt Fest who had the speaker fall on him. Basically, in that episode, Santos, without running it by Langdon, ordered a BiPAP. The patient became hypoxic. Langdon had to save the patient, and then Santos asked if she could put in a chest tube. And Langdon said he doesn't need a chest tube, he needs a pigtail catheter, and I'll be doing it. And so now we get this other patient, and Santos is still trying to just put a chest tube in anything that's in front of her. Like, she's putting chest tubes in her steak dinner. Like, just chill out with the chest tubes.
It's so funny that she's still...
Yeah. As much as I have grown to love Santos, and I'm very concerned about Santos, to be honest, this is so hard to watch because it's so person in their 20s with some pretty traumatic shit in their past, like projecting it onto everyone around them.
Yes.
It's really rough to watch as someone who was once in their 20s with a bunch of traumatic shit in their past who projected it onto everyone around them.
Yeah, and like I get that Langdon of all people, like feeling that way, but you just in front of you can't act this way in front of a patient.
Or in front of your new attending. Like, she does it in front of Al-Hashimi, too.
Mm-hmm.
I literally wrote in my notes, because I was watching him carefully the second time around to see if he was antagonizing her or if he was just trying to teach. And I really think until the very end, he was basically just trying to teach and also trying to protect the patient because, you can do a lot of harm by doing procedures that aren't necessary. And that's what happened before.
Yes.
So I literally wrote my notes. He's not being a dick because I needed to check myself to make sure that I wasn't just like, oh, we love Langdon, you know?
Right. And it's like the problem of it, if there is one, but he has no other choice really, is that he knows that Santos is still having this reaction to him. Like he knows what this is about and is still, but it's, yeah.
He also knows that she's an R2 and he is the resident. And if she fucks this up with the patient, it's going to come back on him.
Absolutely.
His role in that moment is to coach her and make sure that she doesn't injure the patient.
Mm-hmm.
I was checking myself because this show really makes you it kind of twists your emotions around these people. And so I then watched the scene right after this, which is Dr. Robby and Whitaker with a patient. Robbie's doing the exact same fucking thing with Whitaker. Exactly coaching, directing, and it is nowhere near perceived the same way. It's just normal hospital teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the difference here is that Santos is being a little baby about it and that's not fair, I know. But
no, I mean, she is being a baby, but I understand. I get it, but also there's a
you're
lot.
a doctor and there's a patient in front of you.
Exactly.
So as they're having these conversations, I did notice, this is why I said earlier on, I think that Al-Hashimi has clocked this tension between the two of them already and has done this on purpose to try to make them work together so that this doesn't continue.
She's putting them in their get-along shirt,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. She's tying their legs together and they're going to do a 3-legged race.
That's right.
Yeah, because, they do have to work together. They can't be constantly avoiding each other. And it's better if they're having this out in front of an attending than on their own, because at least Dr. Al-Hashimi can be like, no, actually, let's go with what Langdon said. This is the correct way to do it. Completely matter of fact. She's not being a baby like the rest of them. She's trying to make sure that things go according to protocols.
I like too, as you say that, it was just, in the last 2 hours that she stopped Santos to tell her she did a good job. And it's not I don't know, in the beginning, because she was so hard on Santos, there's part of me that anytime she's not agreeing with her, I want to be leave her alone. But yeah. I think she is being really kind of reasonable and fair about all of this.
100%. I think so. I mean, she has very specific medical reasons for the decision she's making. It's not like she's just siding with Langdon. She knows what's best for this patient in this moment, and it's what Langdon said to do, and so that's what she's going for. But the fact that this is how I know that Santos's trauma is catching up with her and she's regressing, because she basically says, Langdon asks her, which tendon did we test, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, seriously? That's a med student question. And it's there's a fucking attending watching you behave this way.
Exactly.
And you're just going for it. It's nuts. We get a cute little moment between Langdon and Garcia. I also wonder how much that's coming into play or will come into play, because Langdon and Garcia clearly are buds.
Yeah. And even back in season 1, it's how the two of them have this
Yeah. Yeah, she walks into the room when all of this is going on, and Langdon says, "Little late for the show, yo-yo." She says, "I am the show, Dr. Langdon."
I am the ER.
She is the ER. She is the show. Yes. But he says, "I knew somebody missed me." And Santos rolls her eyes at that, because this is the person she's having ramen in bed with, and they're buddies with her enemy.
Right. And then complaining incessantly about Langdon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good point.
And the things that he's correcting her on, some of them are more significant than others, but they all seemed reasonable to me. When they cut his ring off, she's going to do something and he says, stop, irrigate the ring shavings first. Well, yes, these are not dumb things to be suggesting. But at the very end, this is where I was he's getting annoyed, because at the very end, Al-Hashimi says, "You can learn a lot from your senior residents." And Langdon says, "I'm happy to teach Dr. Santos." And to be fair, she's been a complete
she's
child this whole time. So of course he would be annoyed. But he handles it pretty well. And I think that again, we're seeing the comparison between somebody who has at least attempted to deal with their shit and a bunch of people who clearly haven't.
Yeah, apparently decency and decorum need to be reintroduced into our R2 curriculum.
Which, absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you have about this patient? Because the next thing I have is just the conversation in the hallway with the two of them.
So I did find his name is Derek Foster. I don't know if they ever actually say it in the. Maybe they do. But
he's at the very end. Yeah, Mr. Foster.
Foster.
Yeah.
He's played by David Fumero, whose name is so familiar to me, but he doesn't have any credits that are super familiar to me. But he was in a movie in 2007 called Greetings from the Shore.
Really?
Still reeling from the death of her father, a young girl spends the last summer at the Jersey Shore before heading off to college. But when her plans fall apart, the girl stumbles into a mysterious world of Russian sailors, high-stakes gambling, and unexpected love. And it's Kim Shaw, who I don't know, but then also Paul Sorvino.
Huh.
So.
Okay.
He was born in Cuba. But yeah.
So he's not from Jersey.
No.
Well,
He's got Jersey vibes, though. There's something about the attitude,
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't give a shit about what, my degloved finger, where's my kid?
Yeah. Cut it off. I gotta go. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Who did we say, was that this week or last week? That we're saying like it's from Jersey.
I know, and I immediately regretted it when I saw her behavior. Yes. Okay. Yes. No, it's okay. It's okay. I did text you before seeing this episode the fact that I really felt like Santos was representing Jersey, but I no longer feel that way. Maybe that's just me being embarrassed of my own behavior as a 20-something.
No, because I think we would keep our head in the game in front of the patient and then maybe do something petty or
absolutely
pop
do something.
Off
yeah.
in the break room or whatever. But I'm not letting a patient see me act like my feelings are getting in the way of me doing my job.
That is fair. Yes, I agree with that. And so does Garcia, apparently. This is my segue to the next scene of the two of them in the hallway.
Yes, that's right.
Where we hear the incredible line, you want to have sex and eat ramen in bed, I'm your girl. But if you want to talk about this Langdon shit again, call a therapist. I saw a lot of people be like, oh my God, that was so harsh. You know what? I don't know. I'm a big call a therapist person.
Yes. First of all. Second of all, like last week, I was annoyed at her being like, keeping it casual, aren't we? But I wonder, have they spent the last however long with Santos looking for any chance she can to complain about Garcia's friend who has been trying to
get sober? I totally got that impression where it was like that one line said so much to me about what their conversations must have been. I could totally see them sitting around watching Netflix and Santos being like, oh, I can't believe fucking Langdon's coming back. And just, it really made me crazy.
Yeah.
But she does say, meanwhile, I've been a goddamn pariah for the last 10 months for doing the right thing. Which
I'm curious about that.
Right, because we had assumed that Robby had kept this quiet for Langdon, but I have a feeling that he kept the stealing quiet and not the addiction part quiet. Because he did have to explain him going away for 9 months. And
we know what a little gossip Robby is now.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much of that is true, that Santos, just knowing how prickly she can be and how sensitive she can be. Maybe she was treated that way. Who knows?
We've seen her behavior on her first day. She's picking on the other, medical students.
Yeah, and Garcia calls her on it, or is it just because you can't play well with others or whatever? So it's we got to look inward a little bit, I think.
Absolutely. Do you want to talk about Mohan now? Because I feel like this is sort of the centerpiece of the episode, and then it goes on from there.
Yeah, we could do that.
Girl has never seen a panic attack before.
Remember earlier when we were saying there are certain things that maybe if you, they hit a little too close to home, so you're a little more aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
I think this is probably one of those moments, at least for me. I don't want to speak for you, but
oh my God, 100%.
Relentless Jersey mom.
Relentless Jersey mom, sweating. Suddenly, everything is echoey, and you can't quite hear.
I know. I was waiting for her to go down before I fully realized that what she was moving into was panic and not.
Yeah.
She was, it's fight, fawn, freeze, and could have gone in a couple of different directions, but yeah.
I watched an interview with Supri Ganesh who talked about, and I don't know if we know this, but this is part of, I guess, the backstory of Samira, which is that her father passed of a heart attack.
We knew he passed because that's why she sold the house and is traveling with her new boyfriend.
Right.
But I don't know that.
Yeah. So I don't know if we know this, but it's part of the backstory that it didn't sound like it was something that she created. It was when she talked about it, it was very clearly Samira's dad passed away from a heart attack, and that it didn't occur to her in that moment that it even could be a panic attack until it was literally said to her. Because, and as someone who has had panic attacks and has a father who died of heart disease, you can't separate those things, because it's also as a doctor, you would know that heart attack symptoms in women present differently and are often overlooked. And so,
and if you've never had a panic attack before,
right, which good for you, but
that's the thing is you feel like you're dying.
You literally feel like you're dying. Yeah.
A doctor or not, that's really hard. You can't rationalize yourself out of that. So
absolutely. But man, if I ever have another panic attack, which hopefully I will never have another one, I want Joy to be there next to me, telling me to get the fuck in a wheelchair.
I love her so much.
She's so cool under pressure. She's so like fine with like taking charge. I loved it.
It really is. I've said it before about her, I think, but like how much better you can be if you're not weighed down by the like expectation or feeling like you need to prove yourself, because she's done here in a couple of weeks. Like,
yeah. She knows where she's going. She knows she's good enough to get there, and she doesn't. This is part of the path, but it's not a step. It's just something she has to do and not fuck up, basically.
Right. And she knows she's not going to.
Yeah.
So
it really starts to escalate with this patient, Helen, who has some creepy, weird leg injury I don't want to think about. Blood clots are one of my biggest fears. I've been on the birth control pill for a really long time. And, you know, anything stroke related, the eye stroke was a big problem for me. But you know, you're in bad shape when the patient is like, are you okay? Do you need to sit down? But yeah, she tries to get some air, but has to go through the waiting room first.
I was like, you know, you're not in your right mind if you're fleeing through. Yeah.
Through all those people. But basically, the thing leading up to all of this that kind of sends her over the edge is her mom not just calling and texting incessantly, but calling the emergency phone. And if you don't have a Jersey mom or a Jersey mom with some sort of like mental complications,
the way this
really got me. This really fucking got me.
You can't answer that call. Like, you just can't. And then
nope.
Because it's like, because you know the conversation. This is if I'm gonna have a panic attack on Mike.
I know.
You're gonna watch it, like, because you know what's going on with Dr. Mohan is she's having the next conversation in her head where she's like, you can't call my work phone, and then she says, well, you weren't answering your phone, and then she says, well, that's because I was busy and couldn't answer my phone, and then it's like, there's just
I have a job, Mom.
Exactly, yeah. Which you know because you called me there.
Right. Which is something I literally said 2 days ago to my own mother. I have a job.
I wish we could tell young, lovely Dr. Mohan that it doesn't end.
It doesn't get better. It's just...
You will be 40 years old and still...
Or 50. Yep. I have a job,
you
Mom.
talk about your biological clock ticking.
Oh, my God.
Dr. Mohan.
It really, really got me.
What do you think is going on with that?
So I really, at first... was convinced up until this episode that it was just a Jersey mom. Now I think something's probably going on because there's just... So here's the thing. If this was my mother or a mother like my mother, this would not mean something was wrong. But I think in TV show land where most people do not have mothers that would do this just because... I think they're signaling something else. I don't know if it's like a huge tragic thing. Maybe it's something that is like a problem that's happening, but isn't life-threatening. I don't know. Because if it was life-threatening, like she would be in the hospital or she would, you know.
Yeah. When Princess comes to tell her, she says what Samira cuts off is her saying, she says you don't need to call her back. I think is what the sentence is going to be, but something. Which makes me actually feel like there is something wrong because that would be like, you don't have to call her back, but she needs you to know, I don't know what.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way. Although, who knows? It could end up being nothing. But
it just seems a little bit, for TV world, it seems a little overkill for it to be nothing.
Yeah.
You know, unless this is where it stops. Like if its purpose is to set off Samira, and then, you know, what Princess was trying to say to her, like, you don't have to call her back, but this is the thing she wanted you to know.
Right. Her flight changed or she's not, or the sale in the house fell through. So
right. Yeah, exactly. So that's my hope is that it was like just her being, we don't need people's family members to be in like grave danger. I don't think, like we said with Becca,
yeah.
You know, the thing that she says that really got me and is so well written for what this person would be experiencing in this moment was, Dr. Robby is asking her like the normal questions. Are you hydrated? Have you eaten? Any chance you're pregnant? And she says, I'm doing everything right. It's everything around me that's all fucked up. It's just my mom moving and calling me over and over again and now me scrambling to find a job next year. I had it all planned out and now everything's just out the window. That is such a simple thing to say, but the I'm doing everything right part, just like really like somebody punched me in the stomach, because it's just such a like person who needs to be in control of everything and can't be.
Right. And also thinking that if she does everything, quote unquote, right, then she'll be safe. Like, everything about that.
And right after that, we get the line of the episode. Not in a good way. Dr. Robby says, wait a minute, is this a panic attack because of your mommy issues? And I wrote, fuck you, right after that. Yeah.
I really
This is hard.
This is really, really hard. And not that he necessarily deserves it, but I really had to work to get some compassion. Compassion's not even the right word, but to like get a little bit of like, well,
you have to work to get your empathy back?
Like just a little bit with him, because it's like, I mean, it's so complicated what's going on here, because it's like, well, because where does he get pulled in from?
He gets pulled in from I think the finger or the leg.
It's the leg. I think it's the leg, because imagine what you were dealing with, and then you get the very real. I mean, he really clocks in when he thinks there might actually be something wrong.
Yeah, because Joy says, I think she's having a heart attack, or she might be having a heart attack.
And he knows that, I'm sure, that her dad just died of that. And so he's not, and he's never seen her have she's, slow-mo. Like her issue isn't being too up. And so he really does like lock in. And I could see being a little, on the one hand, I can imagine being a little frustrated, and he's worn so thin, and he just went from thinking maybe she's actually having a heart attack in the middle of everything else going on to, but all that to say, hey, it was less than a year ago that Whitaker had to pull you out of peds because.
Exactly. Well, and
of course that's what yes.
Right. That's what I was going to say is like, there's a couple of things happening here. Number one, he is witnessing something that he hates in himself, which is this like inability to cope with the stress.
It's the Langdon thing, but with a different aspect of himself that he doesn't like.
He also is watching one of his own doctors become a patient temporarily, which is like, as somebody who probably feels a lot of ownership over the place, like is
and somebody
also
who
triggering.
He hasn't really had to worry about. Like his biggest problem with her up until now is that she's too caring. So like now he's like, now I've got somebody else I've got to be watching out for. Like,
And he doesn't know how to handle anyone with mental health issues, especially himself. And so this is not something that he's good at. Like, but he also has just got a bit of internalized sexism going on. Like, it's really the mommy issues thing. And the thing that got me is not what he said. And it's not that he was annoyed with her. It is the mocking tone in his fucking voice, because every woman I know has heard that tone from a male superior, I want to even venture to say. Like, I have been spoken to in that way by bosses, colleagues, more times than I can probably count.
Right.
About a very legitimate thing that I was upset about.
Right. And even if it wasn't a legitimate thing you were upset about. Yeah. Yeah. Because I just imagine, I was going to say Whitaker. He's not a good example but like any other of the doctors who aren't women in the ER, Robby probably wouldn't be patient with that, but I think his reaction would probably be a little different for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to parse because like he treats Langdon very poorly this whole season. But I think that in a weird way plays into his God complex, like dad complex. Like he is not a dad, but he's trying to be everyone else's dad in a really not healthy way. But yeah, that mocking tone was where it broke for me, where I was like, this is somebody who is so not okay with themselves that they can turn on a dime like that. That's not the first time that's happened.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not. And, all the interviews I've seen with Supriya Ganesh, the way that she talks about the Mohan-Robby relationship is that, like, it got slightly better after last season, but they've never been great. And he's not great with a number of the female doctors. Mm-hmm. He and Santos are so alike that I think that, like, we don't see it with Santos because they get each other in that way. So it's not just a gender thing, but it is partly a gender thing.
Yes, I think so.
He does try to apologize. This is my favorite kind of apology. I'm sorry, but now stop feeling sorry for yourself. Think you can do that? Fuck you. Fuck you.
That's so funny. This is, yes. And also I was like, I think that would have worked for me, of being like, yes, please acknowledge that you were being a dick.
Yeah.
And yeah, now I will stop feeling sorry for myself because Robby's not right, but.
He's also not entirely wrong. Like you said, like, he is shitty to her. He's unprofessional. You know, his role as the attending is to model how to manage people, how to manage patients, how to handle this situation. And instead he acts like a child.
The way he says, like, do you need to go home?
So dismissive.
Yes.
Like, talking to her like she's a kid.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the other thing that I think, while his behavior is shit and he does not do a good job as a professional or a leader, it is true that to effectively work in that environment, you have to be on your game. Like, you can't be completely distracted by something else. And so, like, instead of saying, do you have to go home? He could have said, do you need a few minutes to go take a walk, sit in the break room, like, whatever? You know, what can we do to, like, get you back, to acknowledge that her head's not in the game and it needs to be, but that, like, with compassion.
Yeah. I don't know how he thinks that acting like that is going to get her head better in the game. I mean, what should have happened, and listen, this is advice from somebody who would never take it, is like, she should have just answered the phone the second time her mom called and gotten this conversation over with, because either something serious is going on and she needs to leave work, or nothing serious is going on, and then she can move on with her day.
But as someone who's taken that phone call and had it still ruin the rest of the day, like, I don't know. It might have avoided the panic attack, but I think she still would have been in her own head. But that's just me projecting.
I think, yeah, I don't know that there's a version of this where, like, suddenly it's not like her mom's going to call her and be like, I just wanted to call to tell you I'm going to stop calling you relentlessly. And also, I'm not selling the house. And so why don't you come back to, like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that would have been the ideal.
Yeah.
That would have fixed the day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's quickly talk about the young boy they bring in from the water park as well, because this is where Al-Hashimi gets to show off her something she says she's never done before, which I wondered about. Like, I
keep going back and forth with that, because that line, it's cool that she's like, I was so cool under pressure. My hand did not, my hand was so steady, but I've never actually done it. I'm just that, like, again, locked in and great under pressure and whatever.
Yeah.
So, like, but if that's not true, then that line isn't so cool. So I'm like, I don't know which version I like better.
Well, it's either that she really hasn't, or when she did it, it was in this horrible maternity ward bombing that nobody wants to think about because it was like young kids that were killed. And so she doesn't want to bring that up in this moment. But yeah, kid, 8-year-old, thrown off the water slide, landed in a tree, and they can't tube him because his neck has a crush injury. Yeah. And so she decides they're going to do something called a slash trach, which just sounds badass.
Slash trach.
Yeah.
It's like almost onomatopoetic. It's like slash trach. Like,
yeah. And I liked, Robby's reaction here where they were like, she says the words slash trach and somebody says, don't know it. And someone else says, me neither. And then they say boss to Robby. And he's like, show me what you got.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I will do that. I will show you what I've got right now by, like, cowboying my way into this kid's neck.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
The way that her hand is so steady.
Very calm. Like, yeah.
I only wish that Abbott had been here to see it.
Oh, Abbott would have been
Robby who?
Yeah, Abbott would have been obsessed with her after that. He already likes her, and he keeps talking about it.
Wait till he hears that she did a slash trace.
Oh my God, absolutely. He's going to be telling everyone. He's going to be like, "Did you hear about that? Did you hear she did a slash trick? I think she's really cool.
I've always wanted to do one.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I think she's cool.
Does anybody else think she's cool?
Yeah." I love it. I want them to get to work together so bad on the screen. I also liked Whitaker's reaction to this, where he was like, you forgot the last step, change your underwear. He's got jokes.
I know. I like any time we get to see, because it's another moment where Robbie's like, he doesn't even pretend that this isn't fucking cool and that she didn't run this shit, and when Garcia comes in and like is a little shitty about it because it's Garcia and she can't help herself, and Al-Hashimi has no time for it. Kind of like, she doesn't really, but I picture her like busting through that door with like both hands, swinging the doors open and like turning around and giving her the finger.
She does kind of like push through the door and like shake her head as she's leaving. Yeah. There's something aspirational to me about Al-Hashimi because, like we said before, the first couple of episodes, she's just walking into the room and shouting AI and leaving, right? And so now that's just how I picture her first few episodes. But the fact that she very calmly stands up for herself in these moments as a woman in a new situation, a woman of color, like a woman who's probably had to deal with a ton of shit getting to that place in life, who's already worked in like an actual war zone. And that's probably a good reason why she's not thrown by people like Garcia. But like, as someone who's had to do a ton of work on myself to be able to even stand up for myself in workplace situations, like watching her do that and watching her confront Robby, who is technically her equal, but is acting like her boss later on, like that, like I said, it's kind of aspirational for me because it's done so calmly. It's done with so much like internal solid confidence. I really like seeing it.
I also kind of get, it really does change everything knowing where she came from, because I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe I would be in a hurry to get the fucking paperwork done too. Like if I don't know.
I think we should just quickly talk about that interaction with her and Robby because it's coming right after. A bunch of people witness the way that he talks to Mohan. We've just watched Al-Hashimi be this badass. And she says, like, to Robby, we've got to talk. And he's immediately dismissive. It's like, we are talking.
He really is like, just...
He's going to continue to get worse, too, I think. Like, I think that he's going to get worse until he crashes this season. But this conversation, this is what I mean when I say that she is sort of aspirational in the way that she's able to speak so directly without apologizing for her statements. I see this with female students constantly, and I know I do it myself, but like the constant apologizing for your statements or feelings before you say them is like rife within every, especially young woman I know. But
I did it literally work this week, and I work with a bunch of therapists who are all, there's no reason for it. It just does become ingrained. And at one point I was like, I'm sorry that I keep saying sorry, but it's just like, it really does become kind of automatic. And I think to not do that, like you said, it would take, for me, even knowing that I don't need to be apologizing, that it would take a lot of work, I think, to be that steadfast.
It's just so notable to me because I see the opposite constantly in my daily life. She says, what the hell was that with Samira earlier? And he says, that was tough love. And she says, you are her superior. She was obviously struggling and your advice was go home. And he says, essentially, this is the ED. It's not for the faint of heart. They talk a little bit more. And then he says what she needs to do is pull her head out of her ass and focus on the work. And she says, what about you? What do you need to do to get some basic human empathy back? Which I appreciate the back because she doesn't know him. But she can tell by the way that people are with him and that know him. She's watched other people's interactions with him who are signaling that this is not typical Robby behavior.
Right.
But of course he uses this as an opportunity to like once again shit on her leadership because he says something that gives me a little hope that this place won't fall to shit when I'm gone, which is an insult to her because she's the one taking over. Bullshit.
Yeah, he's really, I know it's the point, and I know, like, but it is, man, is it difficult to watch him.
I know. And you know who is watching him? Dana. Dana is in the background of so many of these conversations, just keeping her eye on it. She says to, there's the moment when Langdon is asking about Louis's funeral arrangements, which
man,
really got me.
I mean, I know that but what man,
although I like the fact that, like, even in this moment where we're getting this, like, beautiful moment for Langdon, where he's kind of, like, shining his halo or whatever, we also get Dana being like, you sure you don't want to ask your wife about spending this much money?
That's right.
That's great.
Yeah, last time it was a dog. This time it's on Houseman's funeral.
Yeah. But what happened, the reason I brought this up is because right after this, Dana, because Robby's been in the background this whole time, craning his little neck.
And they're really ramping it up. He is in I just keep sending you screenshots of
just eyeing what's going on. But she turns to him and says, you heard all that? Like, she sees what's going on. She sees what he's doing, and she also sees how he's treating everybody, including Langdon. She also says to him, I saw your little pep talk, after he talks to Mohan.
The last thing I want is Dana watching me in my not finest moment.
Oh, my God, because you know you're going to hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just quickly talk about that teacher, mainly because, A, he's still here, and B, Ogilvy's carrying around James Baldwin. Come on now. Ogilvy thought he was going to have time to read James Baldwin. Famously a light beach read.
Just some light Baldwin. Just some...
Good Lord. I mean, yes, shout out to James Baldwin. Great, good taste. But not really like your downtime in the emergency room kind of reading.
No, and is it Ogilvy wants everybody to see? He's definitely thinking about...
Yeah, he's
if
signaling.
Everybody sees me reading, I want to make sure it's something that tells everybody everything about me.
Yeah. Also, though, his father was an English teacher, so you could see, like, he would be brought up, like, reading a ton of stuff, and, like, maybe he is actually interested in reading Baldwin, but it's just a funny look for this, like, obnoxious Gunner White kid med student to be carrying around. Which Baldwin was it? It was
No, it's a native son.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's so funny. But yeah, I have a feeling the teacher's storyline is not totally done because it seems tied to Ogilvy in an interesting way.
Mm-hmm.
Should we go to Becca?
Yeah. Becca,
who's got a boyfriend?
Becca's got a boyfriend.
They've been having a lot of sex. Mel, poor Mel. Oh my God. I saw a meme that was like Mel saying like, I hope I don't have a bad day. And then behind her is like the bad day factory.
Everybody on this show, not everybody, there are a lot of people on this show who think that if they can just keep everything in front of them and managed, and that they will be okay. And it's like, Becca is a whole person living her own life. The way that she Langdon can't tell you, like, nope. What do you...
Yeah, I think that the writers of this show love to give us a character that we decide is like a perfect angel and then be like, actually, hang on a sec. Like, nobody is a perfect angel. She has a blind spot. One of them is her sister because she has had to take care of her for so long. And so she, in some ways, loves and cherishes her sister. And in other ways, sometimes places her sister in a box of this person that she has to care for and not maybe a person that is capable of having a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I saw some comments on Reddit about how people with autism at this level are often infantilized and appreciating that they're kind of pointing it out and not doing it at the same time. You can want your pills crushed up in your orange juice and still be able to have an emotional relationship with somebody. Thankfully, Langdon's willing to do it with no questions asked. I love that he offered her Pittsburgh's finest water.
That 4 bevs, man.
Oh, I know.
He's never done anything wrong in his life.
Also, apparently Pittsburgh has terrible drinking water.
Great.
Yeah, they've had a bunch of boil water notifications, and there's like aging infrastructure and like water lines kind of being leached into from coal mines and steel mills. Not great water quality. So
Pittsburgh.
He's got jokes. But again, like we said last week, the way he talks to her is such a good example, not just of how to talk to someone with autism, but how to talk to a patient in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Like explaining things clearly, not talking over them. Like,
because I almost said something, their first exchange when he asks Mel to turn the lights off, because it's the second time he's done the lights thing, because he does it for Mel earlier, of being like, oh, Frank learned one thing and he's got like a little trick now that he like wants a cookie for every time he turns the lights off. But that's not what it is. Like,
no, it isn't. Yeah.
Really getting the lesson he needed to get there and has really used it to become better.
Yeah. I also like Becca calling him out and being like, don't say in a few minutes if you actually don't mean in a few minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He's really doing it. He's got a great trajectory right now.
I want to pin this. I don't think this is happening, but just in case.
Okay.
I don't think this show, I don't think Langdon's story is that we're supposed to be worrying that he's going to be tempted at some point this season and to fall, or to, I shouldn't say fall, that's not fair, but to make a choice that he doesn't really want to make when it comes to relapsing. My only worry is that he's been so perfect that we're forgetting that he is somebody, you're an addict forever. Like that's something you have to deal with he'll have to deal with for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But he's just doing so well.
He is, but I don't think, I understand what you're saying, and I also worry about that a little bit, but I do think the fact that, like, they keep reminding us of the fact that he is not perfect, that, like, he's making mistakes in how he approaches people. He is still, like, thinking about spending a ton of money without asking his wife. He's great with the patients, but I think the way he interacts with the other doctors doesn't feel completely evolved. And so I hope I don't want that either. I don't want this to be about him relapsing or something like that. And I don't think that's the way the show is taking that character, but I do understand the fear.
I just want to make sure, because it is really easy for me when it's a character that I like to have a hard time seeing anything but, it's that mutual positive projection. I'm still in the honeymoon period with these people because I've only known them for a day and a half.
Right. And yet your whole life.
And that's right.
I just need to know if this is the first time anyone has told Mel that this lawsuit is not going to take her money or affect her career, because
does Mel not understand how malpractice works?
I mean, has nobody explained it to her?
There must be.
I guess.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like there must be a class. There must be a module or something.
Yeah. And I do understand that, like, as someone who feels the need to be in control of everything, and honestly, as someone who personally, me, Jody, like, can't handle, well, I can handle it better now, but has a really hard time being criticized without feeling like I am an absolutely shit person.
Right.
I will take it from, like, you forgot to pick up the dry cleaning to you are the worst human on the planet really quickly. Right. Mm-hmm. And I can kind of see someone that has Mel's fragility is not the right word, but like sensitivity and need to be doing her best at all times and taking care of people, that even if it's not going to affect her financially or change her career trajectory, it to her might then signal that she's not a good doctor.
Right. And it's possible that was explained to her to some degree and she just hasn't been able to hear it yet.
Right.
Because she was we've seen how distracted she's been.
Yeah. I have to say, even though we just talked about how Langdon is not perfect still, but, he's got a little bit more shine on his halo. The way he approaches Mel after the deposition is so sweet. He says, "Hey, how was your deposition? I'm sure it was stressful."
I'm sure it was stressful.
Acknowledging her emotional experience.
So validating.
Yeah, exactly. But she needs to know, she needs him to break HIPAA and explain what's going on with her sister. Can't tell you. But so I think this is the last scene we get with Becca this episode. Yeah, so she goes into Becca's room, asks how she's doing. Becca's a little bored, understandably. She also says, Dr. Langdon gave me some medicine in OJ. He's super nice. I see why you like him. Just blowing up Mel's spot left and right. But he gently leaves so they can have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And we find out that Becca's got a boyfriend. They're having sex. Lots of sex.
Lots of sex, in fact.
Mel's face. Taylor Dearden in this scene, it's such a combination of like you feel sorry for Mel because she's having such a very bad day, but also like the complete cringe on her face.
Yeah, no sibling wants to know about their sibling's sex life.
I know. It was pretty rough.
Yeah. Yeah, she goes, it really is a little bit of like going through the 5 stages of grief. She doesn't quite get to acceptance, but you really can see it like washing over her. Yeah,
that's what I mean about like, you know, Taylor Dearden's face acting. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
There's a chance that this storyline with Becca goes a little further, but I do think that it's more of it's like a soft spot to push on for Mel, you know, that will keep pushing her into a more stressed out, difficult place. So let's move on let's talk about Roxy, because like I said, I'd like to end with Duke so that we can kind of finish on an upswing, even though I don't think Duke is doing well, but Roxy is a much more difficult, sad storyline. And also it's pretty direct, this episode. Like there's not a whole lot that happens in terms of plot. It's just, it is what it is. But yeah, this is it, I think. Right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it did kind of it managed to do what we wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did see a lot of people, I just want to get this out of the way so we can get into it. A lot of people saying like, this is not how it would happen in an ER. Like
I saw the same thing, that this is not, it wouldn't happen in an ER. She would be sent up to an admitting room.
Right.
But the other half of that is that I saw people who had lost family members in similar ways, and they said that part of it is extremely accurate, that it's that fast, that it is usually you know, with, you know, pain management comes, you know, the end of things.
There's going to be a dose that will be the final dose. Like
the linchpin of this whole part of the story, I think, is the sons and the way they're reacting. The way she is talking to her younger son, and then how that affects Javadi and McKay. But McKay has more experience and is able to mostly like hold it together and be there. She's very connected with Roxy throughout this, which I think is really sweet. She's like laser focused. Her only concern is like, is Roxy ready? How is she doing right now? Is this the right time? Like what does she need from me?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, and her conversation with the older brother is very touching.
Yeah, it's really like careful and but direct. Like I like, because you know the way she's like, it's your call, but you know you're probably going to.
Yeah, if you don't go talk to your mom, you're going to wish you had. You know. And I literally wrote in my notes, she's so good, because you can't force the kid to go in there, but it's true that like when he gets older, he will probably wish he did. But yeah, I don't think we're coming back to Roxy. Like if we are, it's sort of a coda.
Yeah, I think the way that, because this episode ends, obviously it's the last beat. I told you she got the Tony Soprano, where it's like they brought us up to the edge with Roxy and then cut before. Like I love that they did that.
Me too, because we talked about how we don't need to watch her die. Like it feels like it's not our place to see.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt about it,
which is a funny thing to say about this show, but it's true.
You're right that McKay is so good, and that her advice to that young boy is on target. Not so great. Her advice to Javadi.
To Javadi. Well, spoken like someone who doesn't have a problematic mom.
Well, the way it's so funny, though, I really was like, hold on, what? Because the first thing she says I loved, because Giavatti is really cracking through this whole thing, because the show is in so many ways about moms for some reason. There's a lot of mom stuff, especially in this episode, but all the time. And she says, like, I feel like an asshole. All they want is more time with their mother, and I want less time with mine. And then she says, like, don't feel guilty. You can be grateful and gracious from a distance, which is something I tell myself all the time.
Yeah.
But then she says, just talk to her. Tell her what you want. She'll
understand.
No, McKay.
Nope.
She will not.
And then she says, give her a chance. She may surprise you. She may not.
Mm-mm.
And I
Some
do
of
think
us
that,
know our moms.
Yeah. And I do think that McKay may have seen that shortly afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, we know that Dana and Robby saw it for sure.
Absolutely. But I think McKay also like makes eye contact with her right after.
Yeah.
She does see it, because this broke my heart. We get Giavatti seeing her mom, who's come downstairs, and you can see her steel herself and go up to her.
McKay gave her the advice to do it.
Yep. And go up to her and say, I'm really glad to see you, Mom. And then she gets interrupted with the fact that Giavatti could have killed a patient.
It's so, everything about it's fucked up, because she is in a teaching hospital to learn, and she didn't kill a patient. So to me, that feels like.
And also, she is a med student.
Yeah, exactly.
It is Robby as the attending and Whitaker as her supervising doctor, to make sure she doesn't kill a patient, to make sure she has the guidance and the answers to the questions that she had a hand up in the air for and never got acknowledged.
That's a good point.
It is not like even legally, like the fall for that, if there was one, would fall on Whitaker and or Robby, not her. She is a student. She is there to learn. She's there to be taught. Nobody is doing a very good job of teaching her on this very bad day.
Yeah.
Whitaker's trying, and he's doing okay. Robby is the ultimate, buck stops here guy, and he's not doing anything to teach her. He's just getting mad at her.
Right.
She ends by saying, you are better than this. And as she walks away, Giavatti says, I love you too. Oh my God. But that's where McKay, I think, realizes, because she looks at her and she gives her this like sad little smile that's sort of like, oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I was wrong.
This is worse than I thought.
Well, because if you know Giavatti's mom, just as a surgeon from upstairs that you respect and don't really have any personal interaction with.
Right. You want to trust that.
Yeah, exactly. So should we talk about Duke, who definitely is dying of something?
Yeah. The only thing we haven't talked about yet, though, is
what's that?
Dana's insurance fraud.
Scam. Just a little mild insurance fraud.
Send me to jail. I could use a vacation.
Yeah. To be fair, every other person on Reddit that is in the medical field was like, yeah, this happens all the time, but it's not a big deal. But also, of course, Giavatti's like wide-eyed. Oh, no. Yeah.
She's the perfect person to be faced with that.
If this was Grey's Anatomy or even ER, I feel like this would be setting us up for something. Like Monica collapses outside after a nicotine overdose.
Nicotine overdose?
Yeah. Which, I don't think we're going there.
No, I think Monica could probably handle.
Monica can handle anything.
Yeah.
Speaking of Monica, somebody noted that her scrubs are throwback to the 90s, 2000s, mostly 90s style of scrub jacket. And they found the exact same one on an episode of ER on a different person.
Totally different show, Jody.
This is not ER.
Distinct and different.
But it also does kind of identify her as from a before time.
Yes.
Because she's not wearing the modern scrubs. She's wearing the old school floral 90s scrub jacket.
I love that. What a fun detail.
It is a fun detail. She also suggests getting the volunteers from the gift shop to work as runners, who Dana's worried that they all typically are using walkers.
I love how quickly the marathon runner is like.
It's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Yeah,
gotta bring it up.
That's right.
I mean, those gift shop volunteers, they all had their little notepads out. They were like writing it all down. Pretty good.
It's unbelievable that the show can do all of that in the same 42 and a half minutes.
I also, this whole group of nurses station scenes, like, was very meme-worthy to me. There was the moment where Monica's smelling her cigarettes. And it was one of those, I wanted it to be like a tag yourself, I'm Monica smelling cigarettes. I haven't smoked in like almost 30 years, and I can still smell that in my head immediately. Oh, last thing in the sort of like fun little side note things. Joy knows that Javati's an influencer.
Because Ogilvy calls her Dr. J and doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And Joy says, relax, he's clueless about your TikToks. He's like, wait, are you an influencer?
I want to know how many followers she has.
I know.
It's more than you think, Jody.
I saw somebody say in the off season, when we're waiting for the next one, they should release Javati's TikToks as like additional material.
That's such a good idea.
They need like a social media person to put together. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I hope so.
It'll be so good.
Just show me one. I just want one.
Just so we know, baby Jane Doe, still waiting. She's gonna, be old enough to drive by the time she gets out of there.
I love that they always call her, at least Robby does, our baby Jane Doe.
Yeah. And Howard is still in surgery. Drunk firework kid is still waiting for surgery. And that's it. Yeah, baby Jane Doe is also waiting. Everyone's waiting.
It's interesting. We talked for the first 8 episodes or so about like, can't wait for things to lock down so things can really pop off. And things have gotten more intense, but it's not like last season. Like things pile on and it gets difficult, and then it gets more difficult.
Yeah.
And the day rolls on.
We also just have to shout out to Olive popping up and taking a handoff from Dana. And whoever split die nurses.
There's a little bit of Juggle and Jesse with Olive. Like, they really want us to remember that this nurse is around.
Yeah. Don't worry, we do.
I'm curious. Don't you worry. Jody and I know Olive is there.
Yep.
We're on Olive watch.
Yeah, exactly. So we finally get Duke. He is Robby's VIP.
Straight down the barrel Duke.
Could not be more Duke. He is the epitome of Duke.
It's a perfect little metaphor for this show. It's like any other show, Duke would have shown up and he would have been like, either like, who knows? Like, I went back when we first started talking about it and like checked the pronouns that Robby used, because I was like,
oh, is Duke a woman?
Like, Duke's a lady. Like,
right.
But no, Duke is.
No, this is not a 90s movie where all the cool girls have boy names.
Yeah, that's right. Duke is a Duke-ass looking Duke.
He is the Dukest of Dukes.
Uh-huh.
If I knew you were going to make me wear a dress, I wouldn't have come at all.
Where did you two meet?
Tinder. He's quick.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He's a motorcycle engineer. Also, somebody on Reddit posted, I know I'm very Reddit heavy today. I was just on there this morning, but somebody who rides motorcycles on Reddit was like, he's going to drive to Canada on a Bonneville. Like, all of next season's going to be Robby's back injury from being on that bike the whole time. Apparently it's not the most comfortable ride in the world.
What if he leaves, everything's fine. He comes back next season and he's just a little slow.
He's just like got a limp.
Yeah.
Got a bad back. Yeah.
And it's all about how chiropractors are actually very dangerous and you shouldn't go to them.
There you go. He calls Dr. Whitaker one of their most trusted physicians. He's still a student. Oh, no, he's not a student. But he's like literally just a baby doctor.
He's been here less than a year.
Yeah, exactly.
He's brand new. He got his official badge today.
Yeah.
Robby's just obsessed with him.
He's obsessed with Whitaker. Yeah. When Duke is asked if he has any history of tobacco or alcohol use, he calls them 2 of his oldest and closest friends, which is fair.
I love this kind of guy who's like, can't not do bits.
I know. It is one of my favorite kinds of old white guys.
Mm-hmm.
So his exam with the scope is normal, but Whitaker wants to get a chest x-ray. we just had a patient die of lung cancer, which is the only reason that I think maybe this isn't lung cancer, but something's wrong with Duke.
Something's wrong with Duke. Could be a lot of things. My hope is that there's not something super serious, and what this is really for is just another example of Robby doing something we should be concerned with, where he's like trying to make sure his good friend is taken care of before.
Exactly. Before, yes. I think that, so at first I was going down the more conventional path of like, okay, he's bringing in Duke, what's going on with Duke? But I do think you're right. I think it's more about Robby. Like,
I hope so.
I think that actually what this is like, Robbie's projecting onto all these people around him, and he is also, I think, basically bringing in Duke as someone that he thinks needs help when he actually needs the help.
I was just going to say that I say it all the time. This show's so good because this is doing 10 different things at once, because it's also Robby feeling like nobody's going to be able to take care of themselves without him there. And that's not true.
No, exactly. Yeah. And I think Duke is also here to tell us that only an idiot would ride all night after working a 12-hour day. When a guy like that tells you not to get on a bike, you listen.
I think I'm starting to think. I mean, obviously, let's just talk like actual human beings who understand that we're watching a TV show. Noah Wyle is not getting killed off on the Pitt. He's not going anywhere. So, obviously. Yes. But I'm also a person who watches TV because I like to have feelings and engage. And so the part of me that is just watching this show, I'm fearful for Robby and I'm worried. And, you know, he could die. Like those are the stakes right now in their universe.
Right.
And that part of me is starting to feel a little more eased that they keep pointing to it so directly that it almost feels like they're doing that so we're not seeing something else that is going to be a surprise later. You know,
like
I don't know what. Yeah.
Or that they're pointing at it so that they can kind of confront it at the end of the season in a way that doesn't end with like some huge tragedy. Because the thing that's interesting to me is the way they could flip this in a way that would be interesting is that Robby brings Duke in because he's concerned about this like hoarseness he's had on and off. And instead, Duke is concerned about Robby.
Yes.
And like brings it up to somebody, you know, like when Robby leaves the room, he talks to Whittaker and he's like, is he all right? Like, I'm a little concerned about him.
And Whittaker's got to be like, I don't know. He just gave me his house. Probably not.
Right. Like all of those warning signs, even though I can't take credit for this. I read this somewhere. But so like when Dana uses the STAMP acronym with Emma for like things to keep your eyes open for if somebody is like about to like lose it.
Are they all Robby things?
They're kind of all Robby things.
Wow.
So they are, S is staring or refusal to make eye contact. Refusal to make eye contact. Yeah. Tone of voice changing. Anxiety and aggression. That's A. M is mumbling or saying what they're thinking of doing as they talk themselves up to it. He's not mumbling, but he's making a lot of asides. He's kind of talking to himself a bit. And then the last one is pacing, which we haven't really seen yet. But anyway, my point is... Well,
it's hard to... I wonder how you would know if somebody was pacing when
all they do is
hospital.
Walk in a hospital.
Yeah.
So all that to say, I think that like we're being pointed towards this in so many ways that I think that obviously he's going to have some sort of crisis. I also don't think they're going to kill off their main character, but I do think that I could see him having less involvement next season in terms of like not being the main focus of the show the entire time. And maybe part of that is like he needs some time off or some treatment.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have asked for a night shift. I would be heartbroken to lose Robby. I think a salve on that would be if you bring me 15 episodes of Abbott. So
I don't think we could lose him entirely, but I do think that like if you flipped the amount of time we spend with like him versus Abbott, like, or Abbott and Al-Hashimi, like I think that there's a way that like Robby's in the episodes maybe half or 3/4 of the amount he's in it now, you know?
Yeah.
I think that you could totally do that. I would love a night shift episode.
Yeah.
Or night shift season.
I think the only way I feel okay about Robby leaving on the bike and getting in an accident is if then he's in the hospital next season. And I could see that being the night shift thing. Maybe the episode, episode 15 ends on the call that something has happened to Robby.
Right.
Because if we're going, hold on now. We've been assuming something has to happen to keep everybody late those 3 hours.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. That has to do with my last bit.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I know. I think that I could see, so I do think they'll do another time jump for next season. So I can't see him being in the hospital still, but I can see him having either some forced time off or some selected time off where he is maybe working part-time, maybe taking a lighter schedule to deal with his either physical or emotional injuries, so he's not there as much. Maybe he's splitting the attending role with someone else, all that to say, I cut you off because I have a fun little game that I'd like us to play.
Okay.
As we kind of wrap up. And it has to do with what you just said. So,
okay.
Someone on Reddit named Professor Unable 8989, shout out to this person, posted, what exactly will keep the day shift people until 10 p.m.? They said, if I'm understanding correctly, the shift is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but they stayed late in season 1 because of the Pitt Fest shooting. For season 2, I thought it would be the water park accident, but it wasn't that many people, and it seems to be handled. I understand the computer system being down is making things difficult, but at 7 p.m., why don't the day people just transfer all their notes to the night shift, other than the meta answer that HBO ordered 15 episodes? So before we discuss this, there were some great responses on Reddit that I would like to read.
Great.
Number 1, which is, I think, the most obvious answer, but also has a lot of fun possibilities. It'll be a full 3 hours of Santos charting after her shift. Someone commented literally that happened to them, their first job, where they literally got locked in to the building because they were still charting and everyone forgot they were there.
Hilarious.
We could have her waving so the motion sensor light comes back on to remind them that she's there. Somebody called it the Santos charting Yule log. So just the last 3 hours is just her sitting and charting instead of, yeah.
Hilarious.
Another suggestion was an impromptu cage fight between the ED and ortho.
Right.
My favorite comment being the grudge match between the guy who decides whether legs get reattached and the famously one-legged Dr. Abbott would be legendary. Baby Jane Doe holds them all hostage in the hospital. Baby Jane Doe was the actual Pitt Fest shooter. They find out, it's Reddit. They find out that Baby Jane Doe is the Antichrist, and then they have to figure out how to do that, how to negotiate with the devil.
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It all comes together for us. It always does.
The cyber attack is successful, but it only takes out the automatic parking gate of the hospital parking lot. So all the employees are stuck at work and no one for the incoming night shift can park. And then the last sort of funny answer before we talk about possible actual answers is they're going to have a cry off. And so first place is going to be a 5-way tie between Mel, McKay, Mohan, Javadi, and Santos. Whitaker and Kim will place a very respectable 6th, Ogilvy a less respectable 8th, and then Langdon stays to make sure nobody goes into kidney failure from dehydration. Dana considers leaving, but she still cares enough to stay and help Langdon set up IVs. Robby is too numb to cry anymore and will spend the extra hours trying to leave while Abbott sabotages him with banana peels, smoke bombs, doors glued shut, etc. So
Good.
Reddit is a wonderful place sometimes. The last one is a little bit more serious, but says Robby getting an intervention by the Pitlings led by Dana and Abbott, getting him on a psych hold. They take turns doing 1-to-1 for suicide watch, and Abbott ends up spooning him and talking to him until he falls asleep. I may be writing fanfic based on this premise, says the Redditor. And then finally, they go to space. So,
Fast and the Furious.
Exactly. So sometimes Reddit is good, is what I'm getting at here. But it does bring up the point you just made, which is that we have not had a Pit Fest style reason for everyone to stay. And like in the real world, people do stay after shift for handoffs, for charting, all of that. It could just be that. It could just be that this is like been such a crazy long day that like that part takes longer and we get the overlap again.
Yeah. I have my joke answer and I have my real prediction.
Okay.
Or not prediction, but like a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the clocks aren't working, and those 42 minutes, they all think we've hit 7, but we are actually keeping time. And so
that was another joke answer on Reddit too.
It's actually only 3 o'clock and they're ready, or whatever, 2 o'clock and ready to go, and we get those 3 hours. Would be great. But the thing that I was just like getting excited thinking about was they don't stay late. Robby leaves and we get some night shift time.
Yeah.
And maybe it's only 15, whatever. Robby it's so funny to me to think that Robby is like ready to leave and he barely makes it over the bridge out of Pittsburgh or like through the tunnel, and something happens. And then he gets brought in and we just stay. And then there are going to be day shift people. Like Whitaker's not going home if Robby comes in, you know? And like Robby could duck out early because, especially with him being like, do you need to go home? It would be really funny if then he had to leave early. And then those last 3 hours are dealing with that. And then we could get a time jump.
Yeah, I just wonder, they've been, like you were saying, they've been telegraphing it so much that I feel like at this point, if they just have him go off on his motorcycle, get in an accident, come back, it's like almost too obvious. I
agree. But I just think that's the only way I could see it, where I'd be like, okay, like that, there's a version of that works for me.
Yeah.
What's your guess?
So I kind of thought we were done with the fireworks stuff, but one of the suggestions on Reddit was like a major fireworks accident, which is what I had proposed was my like.
It's still light out. The fireworks haven't even really started yet.
Right. And so somebody from Pittsburgh had said that the July 4th activities start around 4 on the North Shore, lots of boats in the water. So that person was suggesting a boat accident. So that's also a possibility, but, yeah, something fireworks related. My sort of controversial take, which is not controversial at all, is that they could just go with, it's been a crazy day, the handoff takes longer than usual, and like something dramatic happens with Robby's goodbye. Like that the extra time is like has to do with Robby leaving in a sort of scary way, but not necessarily an accident.
Yeah, that makes sense. You could also stay longer to work on the emergency paperwork to take Baby Jane Doe home.
Sure. I liked this one too. Somebody said, honestly, I'd really love if the day shift actually went home at 7 and the last 3 hours are split between the night shift continuing in the hospital and the day shifters leaving work and doing non-hospital stuff. We know this isn't going to happen, but
no, it's not. But that's fun.
They set up that McKay has a date. Princess is plotting a party for Giovanni turning 21. Santos's date night with Garcia was canceled. And so like, maybe she's going to go to Anthrocon. Like, we're not going to see this, but
we're not going to see them off site, but what if everybody does go to do their stuff and has some minor medical emergency that brings them back into the ER?
Oh,
especially now that we know, I mean, we knew this, but like with the VIPs getting to skip the line, obviously the doctors get to skip the line too.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking you were going to say like, we get to see this, but they're like doing it in the hospital because they still have to do their charting. So they're like hanging out, doing their charting, planning parties.
I'd be fine with that too. And that patient comes back to Santos. Remember, because what I want is Santos with Garcia on one side being like, oh, my plan's canceled. Do you want to hang out?
Right.
And this furry being like, brought your dragon costume.
Right.
So that could happen in the hospital.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Okay. And then maybe they have Giovanni's party in the break room. Just the saddest 21st birthday.
God. Somebody suggested that they go up to the roof to watch the fireworks so that the roof is not just the place where people try to kill themselves or talk each other out of killing themselves.
I love that so much. Oh my God, I want this season to end. No matter what, I want it to end with all of them up on the roof watching fireworks.
Because it would be like them in the park having a beer.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. And what a beautiful vantage point.
And that would be the time it would happen because they would be ending at like 10 o'clock, essentially.
Yeah.
And the fireworks are usually like 9 to 10 or 9:30 and 10.
That's beautiful. Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, they have to do that now that I've read that. My last fun joke answer is somebody said, a second water slide will collapse. What are the odds of that? And then somebody said, it's a water slide in a fireworks warehouse. So.
Great.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that they have lots of ways to extend this day that don't involve another mass casualty incident, you know, because they do happen a lot, but it doesn't have to be the way they go.
Yeah, I like the idea that they've got to get creative with like reasons for people to say it. It's not always just huge disaster.
So yeah, I think that's it for this episode.
Before we leave, last week we asked folks what they think their unlikely medical PSA would be as the crew gets through all the most obvious ones. And so I want to share a couple.
Oh, nice.
This is from listener Derek, who left us, thank you, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. With what a good, I love this one. Clown lung. I think that clown lung will be the Pitt's obscure condition. It would be a good excuse to have some clowns or drag queens in an episode. Clown lung is what they call it from specifically clowns and drag queens, but anybody who wears a lot of makeup, breathing in the powder over a long period of time.
How do I not know this?
It's called clown lung, yeah. I'm personally hoping for drag queens, but I finally got a big show doing an episode involving furries, and it got cut off. It says it doesn't make us look like Total, and I'm sure it says, you know.
Yeah.
Total Freaks or something like that. I agree. I think they were...
That's a great obscure PSA to give. I like it.
I love that. Yeah. And then the other one we got is from listener Tilly, who I don't think we've ever heard from before. And this was a lovely email. West Coast fans, hello, and PSAs. And so Tilly said a lot of lovely things at the top that would just be me reading compliments for...
We can read the compliments without recording it. Yes.
But so I want to share the first thing... the first thing I want to share from Tilly is just a comment on the Pitt, and then I'll share the 2 PSAs. As a Canadian, the Pitt has been so eye-opening on the medical system in the U.S. Having to pay for a surgery is just baffling to think about. I looked into an emergency C-section, for example, something I've had done, and that price tag made me notably gasp. And then sadly, however, there were lots of relatable scenes and scenarios I saw in the Pitt. Our healthcare system is far from perfect and is actually suffering from long ER and surgery waits and an overall medical professional shortage. Which is something that I think people often try to hold up in the States who are not pro universal healthcare will be like, it's just bad. And it's like, sure, you have to wait and all, but it is nice to know you don't have to choose between like your mortgage and your life sometimes. Like,
right.
I was in the ER recently and everything turned out okay. Luckily, glad to hear that, Tilly.
Yeah.
And it was eerily similar to the Pitt. Chaotic, hectic nature and obvious lack of resources stood out, but also the great compassion and care these nurses and doctors gave. It's eye-opening to see the things you see on the Pitt play out in real life too, and gives one appreciation for the TV series shining a light on this sometimes underappreciated profession.
Absolutely.
I thought it was really lovely, and thank you for sharing all that. And again, glad to hear that your ER visit turned out okay.
Yeah.
Now, on to the PSAs, Jody.
Okay, I can't wait.
First one, concussions. My sister has had an unfortunate run of vehicle incidents that have left her with long-term concussion symptoms. It's affected... I should say the line before this is, anyways, enough bleak talk. I just reread this message and realized it's still a little bleak onwards.
Nice.
It's affected her career and life in ways I think most people would not expect. Things like not being able to lift anything over 10 pounds. I had no idea. Yeah. Or type on a computer for more than an hour without a break, or else she gets dizzy and nauseous. She can't even pick up her young nephews, which is so heartbreaking.
Oh my gosh.
We have been told this can affect her whole life, and I don't think people understand this when she tries to explain it to coworkers and friends.
Yeah.
I only know about it when it's like athletes who have had them so severe, like, but you don't think about people who, I think you're totally right.
Yeah, that would be a good one. I've seen students of mine who are student athletes immediately after a concussion where it's like affecting them in the moment. And it is a lot of that, like, you know, you have to be cognizant that they're not going to be able to stare at their computer for very long, you know, but it's true that the long-term effects are not really, it's not something you think about very often.
No. And I could totally see
outside of the massive, like, traumatic brain injury type stuff.
Right. Exactly. That like in between just doesn't. And you can totally see like Samir, somebody turning to the camera and be like, actually the long-term effects affect more than just our regular athletes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Number 2, Jody. Tilly, I want you to, if you're standing up, sit down. Number 2, allergies to the cold.
Oh, geez.
I actually know of 2 people that have this bizarre allergy. When it's cold, my sister gets hives all over the exposed areas of skin. We laugh at this one because, of course, she gets this as a Canadian, where cold weather is what we're known for. Hey, Tilly, guess what? you know 3 people that have this bizarre allergy, because Andrea here, me.
Yep.
I'm allergic to the cold.
We literally just talked about this like over text a few weeks ago when it was really, really cold out.
It was really cold out. I had a reaction for the first time in a few years that was full hives, like really bad. It's for listeners, this is such a good one because people don't believe me. When I say I'm allergic to the cold, they think I'm saying like, oh, I hate the cold.
Right.
But no, I'm genuinely allergic. I break out in hives. When I was a kid, it like when it's really bad, it can get so bad that it feels like any other, almost like a food allergy. Like my lips will swell. It gets hard to breathe.
Yeah.
It is more common in childhood. Most people who have it outgrow it, but
some don't.
It's one that I never did. Yeah. It used to be so bad I couldn't go in the refrigerator aisle at the grocery store. So it's much better as an adult, but it does still affect me. So yeah, Tilly, can you believe it?
That's so funny.
I read it. I was like half asleep and I woke up this morning and I was like, did I dream that?
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
Tilly, so good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all of that. What a beautiful email.
And now you know 3 people.
Yeah, now you know 3 people. And Tilly's been listening since Yellow Jackets coverage. So it's fun that some people stick around. So thank you. And if you listener, if any other listeners have siblings who are allergic to the cold, I'd love to hear from you. You can email us at watcherspodnj@gmail.com. You can find us at watcherspodnj on Instagram and TikTok. You can... What's the other thing? Oh, you can call us and leave a voicemail at 856-336-8986. You can find me at AQAndreaQ on Instagram.
And you can find me at Jody_Mim, JODIE_MIM.
And if you're looking for a way to pass the time until next week, what can you do?
You could bang yourself in the head.
Get in the car.
You can go to New Jersey. And tell Moyan's mom to stop fucking calling her.
Yeah, while you're out there.
Not on the emergency phone. Come on. Somebody go make sure she's all right so she can leave her alone. All right. Sorry. Mom issues. Triggering.